Time now for the word on Wall Street. Top investors watching your money. Joining me now, Verdence CEO Leo Kelly. Also with me on set, Michael Lee. Leo, good morning. I'm going to start with you here. So futures are extending Friday's gain. We're looking at a very strong open to the markets this morning. Dow 242, NASDAQ up 140, S&P up 27 and change. S&P 500, the NASDAQ hit fresh records, closing out the last week. Friday, a great day. Investors are watching Washington this morning. The Senate now one step closer to passing President Trump's big, beautiful bill. Lawmakers entering debate mode with the vote-a-rama. That's expected to kick off just after 9 a.m. Eastern time this morning. But there's this, too. Canada is scrapping its digital services tax on American tech companies to resume trade talks with the U.S. President Trump told Maria taxes like these are exactly why he put negotiations on hold in the first place, Leo. And just to be clear, what the president was upset about is companies like, and I'm going to give you a list, Amazon, Google, Meta, Apple, they were getting a 3% tax hit on them in Canada. And President Trump said enough is enough. Your reaction?
I think what we're seeing, and we've been seeing it since the tantrum in April, is the market continues to look at this as a bigger event than it is. I have a good friend named Mary Lou Imhoff. She's been around the sun a lot more times than we have, and she always says, stay focused on what's important. Canada doing a 3% tax on us isn't going to hold. We are the biggest customer in the world. That's why China's at the table. That's why India's at the table. That's why Canada backed off. And I believe these tariffs get all wrapped up in the next few months. In addition, the tax bill, in whatever form it gets taken out, will come out. We will find we will find ourselves done, and we'll have answers. And that's really all the market needs is some answers. I honestly, sure, I think the market got too short-term focused. I think it got focused on things that don't matter. We're urging people stay focused on what matters. What matters is the consumer. What matters is inflation. What matters is getting this tax bill done, and what matters is these tariff bills being complete, which is inevitable.
Well, no, when President Trump sat down with Marie, he talked about letters being sent out, and he seemed very confident that these deals are going to be eventually, signed, sealed, delivered. And we've heard from Kevin Hassett many times on this program say the same thing. So this critical mineral issue is at the center of global strategic tensions. Cobalt, in particular. Half the world's supply sits in the People's Republic of Congo. So Maria asked the president if the U.S. plans to step in and push back against China's influence there. Here's what he told her.
I believe that half of the world's cobalt is in the Congo.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to help develop that? Will the U.S. participate in developing that cobalt?
Yeah, they want me to. They actually want me to. The head, who's a very respected guy, look, I just stopped the war. This war was going on for 30 years. 6 million people were killed between Congo and Rwanda. And my people came to me and they say, they want you. They don't want China. They don't want Russia. I think we're going to make a deal to take over the cobalt, and we'll do something good, and we'll do good for them. But they have among the most valuable earth in the world.
Mike Lee, the president also brokered a peace deal between the Congo and Rwanda that was actually signed on Friday. What did you make of his comments about what's happening in Africa and China?
So the Chinese have made it, as well as the Russians have gone all over Africa, getting their tentacles into all the governments for all the minerals and natural resources they have over here to corner different markets. And so this is very significant to be able to get the cobalt out of the Congo and Rwanda. It's a crucial mineral for defense products, so, so for your missiles and all sorts of weapons for your Northrop Grummens of the world. So it's a very significant from that standpoint to not be able to be cornered in, because everything that's going on geopolitically with trade has to do with China. So with what we saw happen in Iran last week, and because Iran's #1 consumer of their oil would be the Chinese. Chinese. So being able to put pressure on Iran and China for the trade deal that was signed that we don't know everything about. So very significant here underneath the surface, even though cobalt as an import to the U.S. is only a few $100 million. It is a very geostrategic important mineral. More good news from the president off a pretty spectacular last week with the markets again hitting all-time highs and likely to set more all-time highs today.
And Leo, real quick before you run here, you mentioned in your notes about oil, and you say when it comes to Iran, which Mike just mentioned, that the quiet Trump offer to regain economic independence, he's talking. You're talking about obviously the United States and Iran. That means oil would come down, and we're actually slightly lower this morning.
Yeah, I think oil, everybody came in that Monday and said, oh no, where's oil going to go? But it stayed range bound, and I think it stays there. I think we have to remember you have two fighting forces that I think are equal risk. One is demand going higher and Iran doing what Iran does, making dumb decisions and taking on the world. The other side of the play, though, is U.S. is increasing its production capacity pretty significantly. And if Iran comes to its senses, makes a deal, and takes what I would call the quiet Trump offer, then their production could be pretty significant as well. Oil then stays range bound to the low end of the range. Yeah. I think Trump's move was really fantastic and really sets the tone going forward for these kind of deals.
Leo Kelly, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Michael, you're going to stay with us all morning.